bold comments from Xbox, and of course, new next-generation software. What is going on, guys? It's Dealer back again. Man, that beat's fire. Thanks to Open Mic. Check him out down below. Awesome producer. Guys, today we're talking about more comments from Jason Ronald, the Xbox Series X, seemingly redefining the very definition of the word definition. I kid. It's doing some crazy things, guys, and he's got a little bit of detail, some bold claims, if you will, and guess what? I believe him. We've also got information on yet another next-generation enhancement confirmed. I cannot wait to try some of these next-generation Xbox Series X games running at higher frame rates, better fidelity across the board. It's gonna be phenomenal. But hey, if you end up liking the video, hit the like button, show a buddy or two, all the 4K gameplay and more coming at you. Thank you so much for what you do. Let's get into the topic. So in a recent interview, Jason Ronald does talk about the SSD, the velocity architecture, and a lot of the capability there. He says traditionally, the primary focus of new systems is graphical horsepower. And while that will still be the case with Series X, some may argue even more so than ever, there is actually so much more to the system than there has ever really been when it comes to custom architectures, I/O throughput, not only SSDs, but how they leverage that to supercharge the streaming of game assets, which makes a big difference compared to traditional drives that we have today in console. He says it's more than just about the power that you can see, it's the power you can feel. Not only that, but he makes a pretty bold claim as well. No, not the ultra high frame rates, which I do believe a lot of people will be blown away by how many 120 or 100 plus FPS titles there will be. Not the virtual elimination of load times, which we have been talking about for well over a year at this point, but more so with how this console will change the streaming of assets and how this will change software in general. In fact, you will see some of this make its way into the PC space. In fact, the SSD setup on the Xbox Series X is so radically different in how it works. When combined with the velocity architecture, Jason Ronald's quote says the following: "The SSD in Xbox Series X is the foundation of the velocity architecture and is a reinvention of how game asset streaming works." A radical reinvention of how game asset streaming works. And keep in mind, none of this is possible without its direct ultra-low latency connection to the actual chip on the motherboard, to its direct connection and to integration, its compression decompression block that allows it to speed itself up and transfer that 100 gigabytes of game assets instantaneously to developers, which ultimately means that any comparison on PC between a 5+ gig per second NVMe and a 2.4 to 4.8 gig per second NVMe on PC is irrelevant, thanks to the fact that neither of these drives on PC are utilizing either the Xbox Velocity architecture, at least right now with independent third-party testing, and PlayStation's Kraken architecture. This means that any tests that you see from these big third-party YouTubers or websites comparing different drives on the PC to one another, saying, hey, is there an advantage? Is there a disadvantage? What's better? Does not matter, because they are not games built with the Xbox Velocity architecture and PlayStation's Kraken in mind. And if they are not optimized for these systems, they are not transformative experiences that are enabled by these systems. You cannot leverage the true potential of the bandwidth in the box, the I/O throughput. It is a pointless, useless test. Now, the tests that we have seen coming from people like Linus Tech Tips comparing ultra high-speed SSDs to even SATA-powered SSDs, which are substantially slower, tell us that there is no real performance gain. But again, these SSDs in the consoles are enabled, unlocked through the power of something like the velocity architecture, of something like Kraken. And once more, anything developed for PC using a mechanical drive or even a minimum spec of an SSD would not be able to take advantage of game design only enabled by 5+ gig per second NVMe. This means multiplats will ultimately cater to a slower drive. You do the math. Again, I've covered this stuff before, but you'd be absolutely mind-blown at how many questions I get about things I already cover. But lucky for you guys, this next part is a little bit shorter. We're talking about another next-generation enhancement confirmed. Marvel's The Avengers is coming to your Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 for absolutely free. Yes, Square Enix confirmed you are getting enhancements for this title for absolutely free, which is awesome. I wanted to cover this because I'm going to commend every developer, every publisher that does not take the greedy path. Every publisher, every developer, every single team that does right by the consumer and gives you that upgrade for the game you have already played. I will spread the word, I will give them praise, I will send that positivity their way, and I think you should as well, because we already have greedy publishers and developers saying, hey, we're going to charge you for an upgrade. That is not acceptable. Microsoft are leading the charge on saying, hey, smart deliveries here, you don't need to pay for this again. That's to be commended. Something else to take note of is that Sony are doing this for free as well, meaning they do have some form of smart delivery as well. Some people have reported that they do not. They do. You are getting this patch for free. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the teams here, the guys building the games. Microsoft and Sony are seemingly isolating themselves from the critique. They're going to let these guys decide for themselves if they want that kind of negativity sent their way, but for third parties, seemingly up to those actual teams and developers, publishers. Because of this, I'm a little more hyped for Marvel's The Avengers. I will definitely be playing it day one now. If it's anything like the Arkham games, in any way, shape, or form, it's worth a try. But hey, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for rocking out with me. You guys are the best. I absolutely appreciate every single one of you. Every like, every retweet, you know the whole spiel. Patrons, channel members, all of you guys, you all are the best. Figured I'd throw this video out. There's a long list of things I've been asked to cover. Even if it's a little bit behind schedule, I'm still trying to catch up and give my opinions on some of these things, spread my thoughts and whatever analysis, quote unquote, that I do give, right? But again, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm Dealer. I'll see you in the next one.